A question has been asked about how on our website we came up with our stories for the 34 Jataka tales. Um, we have a lot of paintings in Himalayan and Tibetan art which depict the main 34 Jataka tales. And then we have many paintings that depict the Avadanas. So these are generally divided up into a single composition with all 34 stories represented in the one composition, or they can be broken into 3, 5, 7 paintings, or sometimes an individual composition for each story. So 34 paintings, and then a central painting of Shakyamuni Buddha as the introduction. So, some years ago, we received from the Zanabazar Museum of Fine Art in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, a number of works, sculpture, and painting to add to the Himalayan Art Resources website. Among those were 34 small paintings of the Jataka tales. So we decided at that time, since they were all individual, they were all numbered, and we could easily recognize which painting went with a particular story, we decided, well, why don't we just write something very briefly to explain what's going on in these stories? So what we did is we used the Marvelous Companion publication, the Marvelous Companion Life Stories of the Buddha, published by Dharma Publishing back in 1983 out of California, I believe Berkeley, and or Oakland. Oh. So we relied on those stories, which were a translation of the Aryashura, Tibetan version of the Aryashura, which was originally written probably back in the 3rd, 4th century AD. So we relied on that English language text. We ourselves didn't translate any of the stories or read any of the stories in the Tibetan or in any other original language, Sanskrit or Prakrit. But what we did is we did a very concise paraphrasing of the 34 stories, and then we added a condensed 3 key topics. Now, the point of that was to really break it down to what are the significant elements in the story. We broke it down to 3 per each of the 34 stories, and that's how we came up with these stories. And the HAR staff member at the time who did the bulk of this work and did the writing was Monty McKeever. And a lot of this work was done back in 2005. So that is actually how we came up with the stories of the 34 Jataka tales.